Good evening, everybody. We're back with another Less Music, More Music live stream down at the Soundhouse. And last week we had a guy who I described as a wild man of rock. Tonight, I think we have the wild man of rock in Leicester, Mr. Rhett, Soundhouse Barrow. Welcome, Rhett. Thank you very much for coming down.
Thanks for inviting us, man. Nice one.
How does it feel to have your name synonymous with this venue?
It's great, man. I love the Soundhouse. It's like a second home to me, you know. I've been running the open mic here for about 5 years now, so...
Special place for you.
It's like family, yeah.
Normally we go into a little bit of history about how you got into music, blah, 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 but you've had a few interesting things going on recently, so I thought we'd cut immediately to the chase and try and get a little bit from you about how your trip to Amsterdam went. Was it all sex, drugs and rock and roll?
Plenty of drugs and rock and roll. Yeah, oh, it was good fun. We went out, took our guitars out there. Went out with my friend Warren, and hit up a few open mics. Did a bit of busking, made some friends out there. It was good fun. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
How did you get the connection to go to Amsterdam, or did you just go cold?
Decided to go. Yeah, I've been to Amsterdam about 10 times, and I've been to see my brother's in a band. I've been to see his band play out there quite a few times, and yeah, I've seen quite a few gigs out there as well myself, and it's got a really nice, vibrant city and good music scene. I thought we'd take our guitars out there and see if we could possibly get a gig, play a few jam nights, meet a few people. It was a success. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So how did you go about getting gigs? Did you pre-book a hotel, just arrive in the city and then go around some venues and say?
Pretty much, yeah. We booked a hotel and I did a little bit of research online, found out where the open mic nights and jam nights were, and yeah, we just went around and had a bit of a play. It was good fun.
And how would you describe the scene, the music scene in Amsterdam, say, compared to Leicester? Because I presume it's a much bigger city.
It's hard to say really, because we only really played one open mic night and the rest were jam nights. But the open mic night that we did play at the Backstage Hotel, that seemed like a quite well-established night. It was really busy and it was a great atmosphere. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And what kind of reaction did you get from the crowds there?
We went down really well. Yeah, it was. I think we stood out as tourists. People were listening to us. It was good.
What did you play? Did you play your normal numbers, or being with Bruce, you played?
Played a set of our own tracks, and we feature on some of each of us tracks anyway. So yeah, did a bit of collaborating as well. And
what instrument did Bruce take with him? Was it the sitar?
Just the guitar. No, we didn't take the sitar out with us. No.
Bit bulky to travel with.
Yeah. Just I played a harmonica on a few of his tracks, and yeah.
And did you get to talk to the other musicians who were playing on the same open mic?
Yeah.
Did they speak English okay?
Yeah. We made quite a few friends there. We met this top chap from New York called Johnny Marnell, and we bumped into him on the street, and we ended up hitting all the jam nights with him. And he was really sound. He'd been there for a week or so we'd met quite a few of the locals, and he was quite familiar with some of the musicians already on the scene. But yeah, it was really nice to meet some new people out there. Yeah.
And is it something you're hoping to go back to?
Yeah, definitely. We want to hit Amsterdam again at the end of the year, take our bands out there. We're trying to get a gig there. We're waiting to hear back from a venue. We were speaking to the manager, and he seemed quite keen to get us on, so fingers crossed.
And is it the kind of thing that you'll have to do as an enthusiast, or will you get paid to play those gigs?
Depending if we bring some people.
Yeah.
But it's just good adventure. It's good to go and play new places.
So there could be a Rhett and Bruce coach going over to Amsterdam?
Suicide Bees and Deadbeats, yeah.
Are you going to do it as a band next time, or...?
Yeah, ideally, yeah. But I'll take any acoustic gigs going, you know.
Yeah. Okay, what about what's happening in Leicester at the moment? You've got a few things going. You've got your own music, you've got the open mic, and you've got your band, the Deadbeats. How do you decide your priorities between those?
It's a tough one, really, because a band, it's not easy to keep a band together, especially when people have got careers and other commitments. So the Deadbeats is ongoing, but it's on and off, you know. Ideally, I'd like to play with the band all the time, but I still play anyway, regardless.
Yeah. What is it that you prefer about playing with the band rather than playing on your own?
You can't beat the feeling when you've got a tight band behind you, and yeah, it brings the songs to life, gives them a whole new dimension.
You'll have to forgive...
Hear them how I heard them when I wrote them in my head, because I write all my songs on acoustic guitar, but a lot of them are written as band songs normally, yeah.
You'll have to forgive me, I've never seen the Deadbeats. What kind of music is the sound of the Deadbeats?
They're pretty much my songs, but a lot heavier. There is a bit of an acoustic-y element in there, but it's quite hard rocking, a bit punky, a bit grungy, yeah.
So I was almost going to say, is there a kind of Nirvana feel to them when you say grungy? Is it that kind of a sound?
I don't know, I suppose there might be a little bit of that in there, yeah. There's always been an influence, so...
Well, that leads me on to, what would you say are your musical influences? I presume they're quite varied.
Yeah. As singers, I've always been really into Richard Ashcroft and obviously Kurt Cobain. Ray Davis, as a singer and a songwriter, is probably my favourite of all time.
Yeah, I think I saw you get excited about... Is he playing...
He's playing in South Sea in August. I think it's August.
Is that down on the south coast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get to that.
Yeah. And what is the difference? Do you write songs differently for the band and when you're playing on your own, or do you just adapt the same songs?
Yeah. Just not all the songs I write will work with the band. There's certain songs I think, are suited for the band, or sometimes tracks that I don't think work with the band will work with the band, end up, sounding great when we jam them together. So I don't know, it's just a bit random how it all comes together, I guess.
And how often does the band get to practice?
Oh, this is it, you see. We've been lacking in rehearsal for quite a while, to be fair. I need to get back on it.
Have you got any gigs coming up as the Deadbeats?
No.
Have you just played one? I'm sure I saw the name somewhere recently.
I was supposed to play at the O2 last Friday. Not last Friday, 2 weeks ago on Friday. But yeah, there was a bit of a problem there. I just played solo instead,
Yeah.
You can always count on yourself, can't you?
Well, on that note, could we ask you to play the first couple of songs for us, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Right, I'm going to start with a couple off my first album. This one's called Blue. Change the way that you felt, the way that you felt. Know that I got the love for you, only want you. the love for you. Only want you, need it too. Know that I got the love for you. Only want you, need it too. Know that I got the love for you. Only want you, need it too. Know that I got the love for you. Only want you to feed it too. Know that I got the love for you. Only want you to feed it too. Know that I got the love for you. Only want you to feel it too. Know that you got me feeling blue. Only want you to feel it too. Blue. Alright. Okay, this one's called Ticking Slowly. Changes taking place, a trip through life we take, make your own mistakes, then learn when it's too late. Time is always ticking slowly, never waits for you. Time is always ticking slowly. What you gonna do? Look into your eyes, and I see through your disguise. Conscience never lies, so don't keep it all inside. 'Cause time is always ticking slowly. Walking alone, are you feeling lonely? Time is always ticking slowly. Walking alone, are you feeling lonely? Changes taking place, a trip through life we take, make our own mistakes, then learn when it's too late. 'Cause time is always ticking slowly. Walking alone, are you feeling lonely? Time is always ticking slowly. Walking alone, are you feeling lonely? Time is always ticking slowly. Walking alone, are you feeling lonely? Time is always ticking slowly. Walking alone, are you feeling lonely? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So if we can slightly backtrack a bit, go back to the sort of start of the story. At what age did you get into music? How did you get into music?
I've always been into music since being a small child. My dad's a musician, and I've been brought up on lots of good music, and I was always interested in it as a kid, but I didn't really start thinking about playing until I was about 14, 15. I was really into sports at a young age, and yeah, that all changed when I started listening to rock music, and I wanted to get a guitar, and I joined my first band when I was like 17, 18, somewhere around there, Burning Paradise. I used to write a lot of the tunes, and I just love songwriting. And when my first band broke up, I bought an acoustic guitar and just started writing tracks, and they were really shit, but you just got to start somewhere, ain't you?
And how did you learn guitar? Were you taught, or did you just pick it up with experimentation?
Bit of both, really. Like, I used to hang around with quite a lot of older guys at the time when I was at that age, and I was influenced by them. They were playing guitar, and I was shown a few chords, but I taught myself the rest. I don't really know much music theory. I just sort of blag it,
When you're writing your songs, do you actually write them classically in music, or no? So they're all in your head more than on paper?
Find a chord, and then it's like, all right, where can I go with that now? And that's about it, really.
And what sort of things inspire a song in you? What prompts you to write a new song?
I don't know, really. Sometimes I just, certain tracks. So I sort of, there's a feeling, there's a way I'm feeling, and it'll come out. I write a lot of tracks, and I pick the guitar up every day almost. So I'm always coming up with new ideas and writing new demos, and I don't know, just
So do you have quite a large collection of songs?
Yeah.
And how do you decide what you're going to play and what you're going to run with? Do you test it out on an audience, or do you test it out with mates?
Yes, some new tracks I test down here on the open mic, and I don't know. I suppose the ones that are just favourites to me, the ones I like the best, I decide to go with those.
Do you? I mean, I'm not a musician at all, but it intrigues me. Do you eventually get tired of a song if you have you do?
Yeah.
So what happens then? Do you park it for a year or so and then bring it back out, or does it get consigned to the rubbish bin forever?
The last track I just played, I'm getting sick of that one, to be honest, but people still like to hear it, so
And do you find then
I don't play it as much as I did now, but yeah.
Do you find you don't have the same motivation then to play a song if you're tired of it, even though people want you to play it for them?
Sometimes.
And what you mentioned earlier that you started in a band, what was it, about 17, 18?
Yeah.
So you hadn't been particularly trained or taught to play guitar. Were you kind of just mashing through at that stage?
Pretty much, yeah. We'd learned how to play a power chord, and that was all you need, really.
Yeah. And can you remember the first gig you ever played?
I think it was at the Attic, yeah.
And how nervous were you for that?
Yeah, really nervous. Yeah.
And how did the gig go?
It was all right, yeah. It went pretty well, actually. We probably sounded awful. But yeah, it was good to us at the time. Yeah.
And what happened to that band? Did people just move away and it broke up?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. The singer moved to London, and it was sort of falling apart at that point anyway, so everyone sort of went their own way. And
so at the moment, again, you'll have to forgive me, I'm not sure, you've had, a few albums that you've recorded?
Yeah, they're all sort of self-produced. The first album I did in 2011 with a mate of mine, Dean Sharman, it's called Deadbeat Melodies, and then second album I recorded with Warren in 2013, and that's called Stormy Skies.
And how do you decide as an artist when you self-produce an album? I mean, you're literally recording everything yourself and sort of like burning off the CDs and doing the printing, packaging, everything. How do you decide what sort of numbers to run off? And is it just trial and error?
I suppose, yeah.
And how did the two albums do?
Well, not really that well, to be fair, but I don't promote them, so that could be a play a part.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen you play quite a few times, and I've never seen you sort of do merchandise.
I don't like it does my head in. I like writing songs. I'm not a salesman,
Yeah. So you're happiest when you're playing? So where do you see your music going over the next, say, 5 years? Is it going to be more solo rather than band, or?
Well, the new album that I'm working on is all the demos that I've recorded so far are band demos. So I'm hoping the next album will be a Deadbeats album, and I can start pushing it as a full band then.
And is that something that you will look to self-record again, or will you look to go into a studio for that?
Possibly. We'll have to see what money's looking like.
Yeah, I guess it is all about the money. How happy were you with the sound on your first 2 albums, given that you did self-produce them?
They're as good as they can be, I think, yeah. I'm happy with them, I'm proud of them.
And what sort of amount of time did it take you to put the album together?
The first album was about a period of about 6 months on and off, but I mean, it wasn't solid recording. I mean, there was times where I wouldn't see Dean for like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah. And
then we get together and record a song or get in and do the vocals. With the second album, did it in the space of a month. I was just eager to get this album finished and recorded, and could have taken a bit more time on it now I look back, but you know, it's done, isn't it? You know?
Yeah. And what instruments do you play? I've seen you play guitar and I've seen you play harmonica.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my limits.
How did you teach yourself harmonica? Because that's an instrument I love.
I'm watching my friend Sean Clutterham play harmonica. He played all the harmonica on my first album, and you might know him. He's in the Paddy Wax, and he plays with Smoking the Prophet as well.
Oh yeah,
he's a talented harmonica player. I was watching him play, and it just blew me away. And I was listening really into a lot of old blues music, and it's like laden with harmonica. I love it. So
again, you're self-taught?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like. I always think if you see either a harmonica or a keyboard in a band or with a musician, you know it's going to be good. There's just something special about the harmonica. What are your thoughts on the Leicester music scene at the moment? Because you've got to be one of the best placed people to comment on the Leicester music scene with running an open mic. Yeah. How do you think Leicester's faring at the moment?
The music scene's massive. It really is. You know, it's hard as a songwriter, I think, to get any real exposure in Leicester because there's so many artists at it. You know, although everybody's got their own style and genre, most artists have anyway. Most artists have got a little something about them that makes them different. But yeah, it's I suppose it wouldn't be the ideal place to make it, or probably not. Yeah, it's probably a lot harder to get exposure here than a lot of other cities, you know.
Because there are so many venues and so many artists.
There's so many artists at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see a new artist at least once a week at the open mic, and you know, that just goes to show you.
And yet, I guess somebody might argue the converse, that if you went to another city where there aren't that many venues and there aren't that many artists, it's probably equally as hard to break through, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think Leicester in the last year or so has kind of grown a lot in terms of the music that's available, or has it been like this for some time now?
Oh, it's been like it for a long time, yeah.
And are there any artists at the moment that you particularly admire, think might achieve something?
There's quite a few actually, but I don't want to name names because I've got such a big love and respect for too many artists on the scene, you know, and we're all at it and we're all in it for the same reasons. And okay, no, that guys, I understand that. It'd be a shame to miss somebody out if you did know them. On that note, could we ask you to do us another couple of songs, please? Yep, sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Okay, this one's called Age. Hoping to release this as a single at some point this year when I get it recorded. Looking back at days gone by, I never thought the time was on my side. Now the clouds are hanging over me. I
Always looking to the sky, the sun that shines, the stars so high. Now the skies are clouded, but I see. But we are Leics, we are Leics, we are Leics. Yeah, we are Leics, we are Leics, we are Leics. Yeah, we are Leics, but we feel the same. Memories remain till we're old and gray. Yeah, we are Leics. Always meant the time to last, but this life just seems to fly so fast. Memories of the way we used to be. Never thought the day would come when I could feel at one with everyone. Be the change in life I wanna see. But we are Leics, we are Leics, we are Leics. Yeah, we are Leics, we are Leics, we are Leics. Yeah, we are Leics. Go our separate ways. Memories remain till we're old and gray. Yeah, we are Leics. Yeah, we are Leics. We are Leics. We are Leics. We are Leics.
Sorry about this. That's the one. Would you like another tune?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Okay, this is a brand new one. It's called Let the Good Times Roll.
Take me on a trip to somewhere I ain't never been. Take me by the hand and show me sights I've never seen. Give me more than love and life and something to believe. Open up my eyes to things that I can never see. So let her know. Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. let the good times roll. I'm a part of you, you know, like you're a part of me. Just like everyone I know throughout my history. The key to life is love, you know, it ain't no mystery. She's the one I want to walk for all eternity, so let her know. Let the good times roll. 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 You mean so much to me, I can't help let it show. You mean so much to me, I can't help let you know. So let her know. Let the good times roll. 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 Woo!
Thank you.
So you mentioned that second song was a new one. Is that a world exclusive for us?
No, I played it on Saturday night.
Nearly.
Yeah,
Now, mentioning Saturday night, that was quite a big night, wasn't it? You had a video shoot.
that's right, yeah.
That was for Age.
That's right, yeah.
So what can you tell us about the shoot? How did that go?
It was amazing. It was such a great night. I was really overwhelmed by the amount of people that turned out to support. It was incredible, yeah.
It's the second week we're going to have to give Mr. Rob Gurney a name check. He was
know,
mentioned
yeah.
last week, and I think you did your video shoot, didn't
Big
he?
up Rob Gurney. Top bloke.
When are we likely to be able to see that video?
If that's Rob.
We'll have to get him on the show. And presumably, rather than it being a sort of a studio track with live footage, were you doing it as a complete live video?
Yeah.
They were taking the audio on the night?
Took the audio from the desk.
Yeah. And what sort of a night was it? Was it just you playing, or did you have other people?
No, quite a few people joined me on stage. My brother was up there doing some backing vocals. I had Warren on the sitar, and yeah, my brother was beating along on the cajon on a few tracks as well. I had Rob from the Suicide Bees doing a bit. Daniel Perry from We All Fall Silent. Jesse Wright got up and did a track with me as well. Yeah, it was good fun.
Oh,
Obviously, my main man Kev Young on the bass.
So it was a good night?
Quality night, yeah, loved it.
You're just recovering?
Pretty much, yeah. Recovering from last night, mate. Oh.
Of course, you had an open mic last night as well,
Yeah,
didn't you?
Tuesday, yeah.
A busy schedule you've got. So, I mean, what do you think is going to happen with music over the coming years? There are a lot of changes going on with this kind of digital revolution. You've got the launch of this Tidal platform that's supposedly going to take over from Spotify. Do you think all these developments are good news for music, or are they not so good?
I'm not too sure. It's not. It's harder for. I suppose it's harder for anyone to make any music out of them, money out of their music anymore, because it's so easily available to download.
Yeah,
it's not a good thing, really.
Do you think, in a way, although music is so accessible, it's kind of cheapening the product? That, like you say, people can download stuff
definitely.
illegally or legally, and it seems to be making it very hard for people to make money out of music now.
Definitely, yeah.
What do you think is going to happen in the future? Are we going to see fewer musicians because of that, or are people just going to be doing it out of love?
I don't think it will stop people playing music, but yeah.
And do you feel that's something that kind of gets exploited in musicians?
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
The fact that they want to play and will play whatever, and there are people then who...
Well, most artists that are really in it they're not really in it for the money, will play for free anyway. Yeah. It's one of those, I suppose. It's exposure.
Yeah, it's a difficult model, because you want people to make something out of what is basically an art form, isn't it, in a sense? But partly because there is such a proliferation, and I think also because music's so accessible nowadays. What frustrates me, and one of the things we'd love to think we might be able to achieve with this, is that there don't seem to be the people coming out to music in the numbers that you would expect. Can you think of anything that could be done to change that? Because
it's a tough one. It really is. There's no. It's really disappointing when you put a great night on and no one shows up.
Yeah.
It's the most annoying thing in the world. But you can't drag people out of their houses, and
no.
It's just one of them things, I guess.
It's strange, I think, because for nearly everybody growing up, music is quite. For nearly every teenager, music is a big part of their life, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
And yet, once people go past the teens, there seems to be. I suppose there are other priorities, aren't there?
Yeah.
But even looking at teenagers, there don't seem to be as many teenagers coming out to live music.
That's true, yeah. When I was 15, I was getting in the shed and going down there, and loved it, absolutely loved it.
Yeah. But I don't know. Going to quite a few of the competitions, you do see young bands. There are lots of young bands coming through, and they will bring fans with them. But sometimes disappointingly, that band finishes its act and then everybody goes.
Yeah, you see that happen quite a lot, yeah.
And that seems a shame, because if you pay for a night, and they're not that expensive a night, you might as well stay and see the other bands.
Oh, definitely, yeah. A lot of people just come to cheer the mates, though, don't they?
Yeah.
That's it.
And I don't know what can be done to try and make those people decide to stay for the night and to try and see other bands. Because it's not as though we're short of venues in Leicester, is it?
No.
And we're not short of artists playing. So I don't know what we can do about that, but it'd be great if we could have some effect on that and get more people back out to see live music.
Nice, yeah.
I think for your last number, we're going to introduce Bruce.
Shadrach.
Shadrach.
Shadders.
Just as Bruce is coming up and bringing his instrument, if he would like to shed any more light on what went down in Amsterdam, if he's got anything juicy he can tell us, please feel free. Oh, that's boring.
Yeah. We'll leave the
Okay, we're just going to move one mic over for Bruce.
That's cool, yeah. I'm just going to tune it.
This is quite an unusual instrument you're playing for us.
Yeah, I've always desired to have one, and I found one in Intersound in Leicester, battered and broken, but it was like...
So you've lovingly repaired it?
Yeah, and then I've lovingly broken it again. It's just about holding up at the minute.
How difficult is that to learn to play? Presumably do you play guitar normally?
Yeah, well, I'm a rhythm guitar player. I'm not a lead guitar player, but surprisingly, this is quite easy. It's easier than it looks, if that makes sense. Yeah,
It doesn't look easy.
No, it depends on what sort of level of mastery you want to go for it. I mean, I've been getting lessons from a guy called Dharimba Singh, who runs Shruti Arts in Leicester, and I'm really fortunate to have had his guidance and tuition, and they do stuff at the People's Centre near Melton Road.
Oh yeah.
And he's done a lot of things for Indian music in England.
Is it something the Beatles toyed with briefly?
Yeah,
George
so did
Harrison,
the
wasn't it?
Stones,
Yeah.
George Harrison,
Brian Jones, yeah.
Brian Jones from Rolling Stones. But for me, I've always wanted one because I like the sound, and I managed to pay £70 for it. And I literally just went hungry for a week, so I could have it.
Okay, what are you going to play us?
Right, we're going to do another pretty new one. It's called Music for the Soul. Thanks for tuning in. I'm not really that with it today. My head's up my arse because I got really battered at the open mic last night, which is a standard, you know. If you've not been down the open mic, come check it out Tuesdays.
Thank you very much for coming down.
Pleasure, mate.
Thank you.
Cool. To my soul. Whoa, taking me to places I don't know. She's like music for the soul, takes me places no one goes. She's like music for the soul, touch me deep down to the bone. Surrounds me everywhere I go. She's like music for the soul, takes me places no one goes. She's like music for the soul, cuts me deep down to the bone. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Fucking guitar well out.
Sounded alright.